Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to this Friday edition of SHARKNEWZ Live. How is everybody doing today? Thank you so much for joining on this, at least here in the East Coast, very hot and disturbing heat waves that we've been having. Dear Lord. But I apologize for not streaming yesterday, and I know that today is Friday, so there's going to be probably not many people joining today, but for those that are going to be joining in tonight's stream, those that are in the chat and watching, thank you so much. For those that are going to be watching later tonight or whenever the hell you want to watch it, thank you for watching and supporting anyway. How's everybody doing today? Let's see, we have in the chat here, we have Odds Mods, Wilfredo Diaz, Ionic Blood. We have Eric Elliman, Johnny Cards 34, I believe it's your first time here. It's good to see you. Russell Terrell, Vil the Great, of course, Derek Holloman, hell yeah. How is everybody doing today? It's good to have you guys. Again, I know it's a Friday, so I don't know if there's going to be a lot to talk about today, but we will hopefully try to see what the hoopla is all about in terms of classified. So I do know that some collectors have been getting their Rattler in, while other collectors not so much. Obviously they usually trickle in orders throughout the weeks, so just because you backed your Haslab first doesn't necessarily mean that you'll get yours first too. I don't know what the system is in terms of who gets it first, but we have seen some people get it. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the classified, the 2025 Haslab, what I like to call the SLOWCAT, because this is probably, if I remember, maybe I could be wrong, but based, and if you exclude the O-Ring Sky Striker, for the Hiss Tank, Dragonfly, and Rattler, I think this is the slowest backed Haslab for the G.I. Joe team. Now, based on the image that I have posted here, which is a screenshot from the Hasbro Pulse website. Now the number is probably going to be outdated by the time of tomorrow, or probably another hour, but as of doing this stream, from when I last got the screenshot, we have only reached 6,794 backers out of 8,000. Now, last week, I was pretty much projecting that the SLOWCAT would have been funded at least within the week, but here we are about, I don't know, what day is it today? 11 days into July, and we're still not there yet. So I do want to emphasize that we still have 34 days. So in 34 days, and we're only close to, let's say we're close to 6,800 backers. In 34 days, we will definitely, obviously, be unlocking the SLOWCAT, which is pretty much 100% given. Now, where it's going to get a little bit exciting and fun for me is how long it's going to take in order to have all the other tiers unlocked. So, I've been reading a lot of comments based on the situation for this particular vehicle, and it's not so much that it's a bad vehicle, and it's not so much that it's a character that nobody wants, because Frostbite is pretty good. The thing that makes it kind of, and I use this term respectfully, lackluster, is the tiers that it offers. And although I 100% understand where they were going with this, as the tiers are meant to be the exclusive portion that are not supposed to be figures that they're going to re-release later. But there are some collectors out there that are kind of new to the Haslab situation, and basically what I'm trying to say is, if the collectors, and let's say we reach like, I don't know, 8,100 or whatever, and if within those 34 days we stay roughly under that number for the next what was it, tier, which was, I don't know how much it was, like 12,000 or something like that, whatever. That kind of means, if you put it this way, even if you back one, if more people end up backing it, even if you hate the Flint figure, if you hate the Lady Jaye, or if you don't like the Bivouac, or if you want it, whatever, at the end of the day, for $325, you're really getting, I don't know how to explain this, you're getting kind of like more in the bundle, rather than if you were just to get the SNOWCAT itself with Frostbite. Then I personally believe you're kind of respectfully getting ripped off, because it's kind of like you're paying more for less, rather than if you have all the tiers unlocked, then you're getting more for whatever the price you're paying for. But that only will help if other people actually back this Haslab project, and these numbers definitely exclude last minute backers who are like toy retailers, or companies that are, like independent comic book shops and other local toy stores and stuff like that, who end up having it. And then you have international backers too, which they usually add by the end of the entire funding. So we've seen that happen with the His Tank, Dragonfly, and Rattler, that regardless if those were 100% funded, like all the way towards the end to get the to get the tiers, they still have all the international people, and as Derek says, overseas people, that the numbers still get added on later. So, which pretty much means, again, we're gonna unlock the SLOWCAT and Frostbite regardless. So we still have a lot of time for that. But in terms of how fast we're gonna get to the Arctic Flint figure, that is gonna be kind of a tricky situation. Because if people are very much a fan of the Bivouac, it's fine, the accessory set, you kind of have to get more people to back it in order to get to the Bivouac. And then if people want to stop there, then it is what it is. That means you're not getting the Flint figure. But you kind of have to get past Lady Jaye in order to get the Bivouac. It's kind of like a interesting, tricky marketing scheme, because if you look at the Haslab Rattler, before you were even able to get the Gunner or even the Baroness figure, you had to get past the patches in order to get to those figures. So not to say that Flint is a super duper incentive, but yeah, kind of, I don't know, it's just like, I see people have really mixed reactions with this, and besides the fact that this SLOWCAT is massive, a lot of people have shared their thoughts that it's way too big, it's not the Mauler or Mobat, and they would just rather prefer to not necessarily, and it also has to do with where you also live. And I've seen people leave comments before saying, they don't live in a state where it snows, therefore it's going to be tough for them to kind of do like snow photography. But if you had like more of a Mobat or Mauler, then it probably would have been easier. But it is what it is. All right, let's read the comments real quick and see what we got here. Russell Terrell says Shark. Ionic Blood says Lady Jaye's head sculpt is a bonus for me. I've been asking that for a while. So Ionic Blood does make a very valid point. This is probably the best Lady Jaye head sculpt that we have for the classified line, and it's just fascinating that the best Lady Jaye head sculpt happened to be behind a Haslab, even if it's a Lady Jaye that maybe most don't want because it's the Arctic version, but we all should probably agree that that Lady Jaye head sculpt is the best that we have. So the fact that in order to get it, you kind of have to back the Haslab. Of course, there's going to be people that are going to be selling the Lady Jaye figure on eBay, which we've seen people sell Rattler figures already on eBay and stuff, and the patches and stuff. So I have no doubt that, you know, we're going to see these in the aftermarket. But the point is, for those who really want a better version Lady Jaye, at least head sculpt wise, then it's very clever that they threw that behind the Haslab one. Derek Hollman says, I will be backing it. Let's see here. Vil says not funded. Nope, not yet. Derek says Dark Lawn and Footloose tomorrow and 60 Sniper Tuesday from Amazon. Nice, man. That's good stuff. I see that Footloose is a pretty cool character in terms of the figure. Johnny Card says no Rattler in Alaska yet. Oh, shout out to Johnny Cards who lives in Alaska. Freaking awesome. Let's see here. Ionic Blood says Hasbro's radio silent on my Rattler. Damn. Got my notice yesterday. Craig N says Shark, good evening, Great White Shark. Thank you so much, Craig. Yes, the Great White has returned. Thank you for reminding me. Derek Halman says this will fully fund. It always slows down in the middle. So I agree with Derek Halman is saying. It does slow down in the middle. However, this is the first time in G.I. Joe Haslab history where it's actually very slow before the actual initial unlocking, the base offering. Usually like 4 days ago, or within like, I don't know, within like, let's say 2 or 3 days, maybe less than a week, the His tank was, I think, unlocked within like 8 hours. I don't know about the Dragonfly Rattler, but those were pretty much set in stone within like the first couple of days in order to get to the tiers. But here we are already like 11 days in, and it's already a slow start. Not to say that it won't pick up later, but compared to the other 3 Haslabs, and the fact that we haven't unlocked the Haslab vehicle just yet, just shows that we've already hit the slow portion, and who knows, it'll probably be even slower after. Everyone is saying the Pulse website sucks. Yeah, I heard they revamped the website or something. I don't know. I didn't really check. Christopher Bouchard says, hello, Shark, and sadly I'm passing on the SNOWCAT. I totally agree with you, man. I myself am not getting this Haslab either. I also do not have the space for it. And unfortunately, it's just not where my funds need to be going at the moment. Nobody wants another Flint, says Vil. Elvin Martinez Jr. What's up, brother? Says good evening. Good to see you online, brother. Yes, good to see you back, Elvin. Hope you're doing well. Jay Gustafson says now taking donations for SNOWCAT. Don't forget overseas, there's a big number. That's very true. Victor H says hi, Shark. Hope all is well. I'm doing all right. Think it might be overpriced and fans might not be too excited about tier 2, not paying $300 for a plate of eggs and a coffee cup. Yeah, so in my previous live stream, I discussed how this Haslab seems more of a, I mean, the G.I. Joe team, I think other people have mentioned that, you know, the Haslabs are supposed to be like centerpieces and stuff like that, but this particular Haslab to me feels more in line, as good as it looks, it's more in line for people who are very into photography. Because when it comes to the stuff that it comes with, yeah, we have the missiles and all those extra additions and stuff, but it seems like where they really added all that tooling is probably for, you know, the eggs and then the sausages, the fish, and then the campfire, the, you know, the bivouac, and then like the tents and stuff, and then the cot. So it seems more like the SNOWCAT seems more like a diorama Haslab piece rather, and for photographers, rather than an actual like vehicle that people can use for like attachments and add-ons. Because if you look at the Hiss Tank and Dragonfly or even the Rattler, you know, they gave us, I mean, the SLOWCAT does have the frosted windshields and all that, like that stuff, but compared to the other vehicles, if I remember correctly, it seems like they have more like attachments and missiles and like treads and all that other random stuff, whereas this one, from based on the photo that I'm looking at, all I see here is, aside from the figure, is more so just flame effects and like the skis with the missiles, like the 2 missiles, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Like I don't see like there's not much of an incentive when it comes to like add-ons and attachments. All right, let's see here. Eric Element says, I love the accessories. Ionic Blood says the bivouac should have been a Pulse exclusive. I mean, the thing about G.I. Joe and Hasbro in general is that we don't know if they're ever going to re-release things for standard releases or for like, you know, whatever. So I mean, there's a really good chance that we could see the bivouac return again. There's a good chance that we could see the porta potties from Trench Viper return again. So anything is possible. Couchboy says, I am now awake. Good morning. Welcome, Couchboy. Vildegreat says, Flint is a patch. Damn, that's tough. Russell Terrell says, for all we know, it's already surpassed 8,000 because of the international orders, which Hasbro doesn't count for US orders at the moment. That's very true. Elvin says, I just backed the Haslab. My premium membership expires tomorrow. If it doesn't hit all tiers, I'm canceling. Cost is too high if you don't get everything. Yes, I 100% agree with you. Joshua says, hello, what did I miss? Not too much, we just started. Welcome, Joshua, to the chat. Ionic Blood says, Flint can suck those sausages he came with. That's funny. Couchboy says, pop off the heads on extras and make Duke and Scarlet and the rest. Pixel Forge says, welcome to the chat. Says, well, it canceled my order, just not feeling this one. They can do better. Don't really care about the stretch goals either. I just want Frostbite. I will get him off eBay. Yeah, I mean, again, the vehicle looks really nice. Don't get me wrong. It's more so just something feels a little bit lackluster with it. So to get Frostbite makes sense. And again, the vehicle is massive. Like, I've seen people post photos on Instagram or even Facebook of people saying they already don't have room for the Rattler. So, and they're already contemplating where the hell are they going to put this big beast SNOWCAT. Lida, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here. Says, well, both Lady Jaye figures are so old. Yeah, they're old and outdated, and also none of them are comic accurate, or sorry, not comic, cartoon accurate either. So we still have to find a Lady Jaye where she has the dark green pants with the lighter green torso. And that's, I believe, the cartoon version. So perhaps, and we've seen the Lady Jaye that comes with this Haslab that she does have the dark green pants. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll come out at some point. Michael Sexton says, I like the SNOWCAT minus the kitchenette. I like the figures and bivouac minus the stupid accessories, but we definitely got more for less with the Hiss and Dragonfly. Yeah, I agree. Joshua says, got my Rattler ship notice a few hours ago. Congratulations, Joshua. Jose Ramon says, if Hasbro doesn't push it through, it won't go. Not enough for us this time. I mean, they posted something today. telling people to back it, but again, it most likely will fund. It's just taking a lot longer than expected. Ionic Blood says, when people see the SNOWCAT at San Diego Comic-Con, then there will be a spike of backers. Oh yeah, you're right. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so as Ionic Blood says, July 24th at San Diego Comic-Con, we should see a display for the SNOWCAT. Therefore, you know, we'll see how they do the whole display, because for the Rattler, I remember last year they did a small little runway with the 3 figures and some like boxes and crates to kind of give it like a airport style, not airport, but like, you know what I mean, like a kind of vibe. So with this SNOWCAT, let's see how they're going to create like the snow and mountain effects, maybe if anything, and then toss in the characters with a cool snowy environment. So we'll see how that goes. Chris Yule says, to be honest, I want the SNOWCAT to fail. Will that happen? No, I want to back the SNOWCAT, maybe. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Yule is not backing down. Says they want the SNOWCAT to fail. Okay, let's see here. Where are we? Jose says, back in the HISS days, there was a lot of people have left the line since then. I 100% agree. I mean, even with this being my 3rd channel, I see a lot of people have either left the classified line, or some are still in the classified line, but they're not as intense collecting as they are. Those that are still collecting intensely, then you know, they're doing their thing. But there's a lot of people that did kind of drop the classified line, and I've seen a lot of posts of people selling their collection too. Couchboy says the Crystal Ball notice is coming soon. Oh, that's good stuff. No Ablo says, welcome to the chat, and I believe this is your first time here. Says maybe they should stop making Haslabs and just release them in retail. So the problem with retail, so recently, quick backstory, recently I just went to my Target, which I haven't gone to in like over like 2 or 3 months, and lo and behold, other than Marvel Legends, I did not see any classified figures. Go figure. I saw a lot of Transformers, and the thing about retail vehicles is, for those that who have backed Haslabs before, you know how humongous the boxes are. Therefore, I think Hasbro has to pay for the space that they utilize on the shelf at Walmart's and Target. So in order for them to even put vehicles in retail, it would just consume way too much space. And as I mentioned, like so many times before, if someone sees like a SNOWCAT on the shelf at Target or Walmart, and if there's like 3 of them, regardless of the price, no one is going to I don't believe anyone's going to take just one. They'll probably buy all 3 of them. So it's kind of like first come, first serve. And there was one interview from, I remember a few years ago, where the G.I. Joe team did say that they wanted to do vehicles for retail, but I think that was back when the landscape for collecting was so different. You know, ever since we hit the pandemic, and then all the tariff stuff, and then whatever is happening overseas, everything has just kind of been more of a shit show when it comes to collecting. Most importantly, more a shit show for G.I. Joe. Therefore, I feel like a lot of their layouts and planning has changed over the year or 2. So for us to see vehicles at Walmart or Target seems like a slim stretch at this moment. So the only way for us to get vehicles right now is probably Haslabs. Lidub says, I personally don't think the tanks would have been any better. They only hold a couple of characters. The tiers wouldn't match. Come on, we've already got Barbie gimmicks with the SNOWCAT. So the reason why, now I can't speak for everyone, but the reason why people wanted the tanks is because the tanks are more, I don't want to say universal, but they're more easier to not display, but depending on characters, because a lot of people are very into the what do you call it? The original 13 GI Joes. They want the classic characters, or they want like the green shirt army builders, or like the green shirt men. So the tanks kind of fall in unison with like the military style, and that's what some, or maybe a lot of collectors wanted to do. But then you look at the SNOWCAT, and as great as a vehicle it looks, it's very niche. You know, it's if you look at my previous SHARKNEWZ video, or even my previous live stream about the SNOWCAT, I did a list of snow characters, and there's really like less than like 12 or 11 snow characters, unless the GI Joe team makes like a lot more. But they could literally finish off like all 11 or 12 characters, and then the SNOWCAT would kind of roughly be finished. Whereas when you have like a tank, it kind of becomes more easier to add other characters into the tanks, and you don't have to specifically use like because for this, right, the SNOWCAT, I guess you can more so use, it's more so designed for snow characters, but at least with the tanks you can kind of just mix and match a lot more. Alright, Gerbear Man Cave, welcome to the chat. Let's see, does not hit my nostalgia first one I'm not getting. I mean, surprisingly, I've seen many people say that this SNOWCAT was one of their first vehicles, and then I have seen some people say that they have no attachment to the SNOWCAT, so it's really like a 50-50 split. William Husted says, welcome to the chat. I'll consider backing this when they deliver my Rattler. Ooh, yeah, you tell him, man, you tell him. Jay Smith says, hey Shark in chat, hope it's all is good. Thank you so much for joining, Jay Smith, good to see you. Couch Boy says, this will fully fund 0 hour, it is way better than the Ranker. I mean, Ranker, come on. I didn't see the Destro's My Spirit Animal video yet, Joshua, but I will see it probably later tonight or tomorrow when I get time. Yeah, he does some pretty cool videos for sure. Rocky Teller, welcome to the chat, says, hey Shark, nice hair dye. Thank you so much, man. I think a lot of the momentum for this was much slower than the last Haslabs, and it's very niche to a very specific setting. Yes, exactly, you're right. Light Up says, the tanks don't even have any more weapons. What would they do for it? What do you mean, Light Up? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Ionic Blood says, Lenny mentioned in an interview you can break down the bivouac and stuff it in the crates. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Again, they designed the SNOWCAT well enough that you can have multiple compartments for a lot of the accessories and stuff. But again, what are you really going to do with, like, I'll be like, as I mentioned so many times, like, I'm not a toy photographer. I don't, you know, take my figures out in the lawn and play with them, right? So I don't take photos of it. Therefore, what am I really going to be doing? As nice of a set the bivouac looks, as personally for me, what am I really going to be doing with the fire pit and the sausages and the pan with the eggs and the fishing pole and this and that? They're all literally going to go in a bag, right? At least for me. I don't know, I can't speak for you guys. So that's why I personally feel like for me to spend $325 is not worth for me, because I'm getting things that I personally don't want. Is it nice to have? Yes, but if I take diorama photos or I do photography, then sure, I can do some cool fishing scenes outside, but man, I don't have the energy and time for that kind of stuff. So still waiting on standard Crazy Legs and Ripcord, says well, shout out to Sabotage, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I really hope to see Crazy Legs, the red Crazy Legs. That's one of my favorite figures of all time. Love it. Eric Elman says, you're on to something. Shoot, I just lost it in the chat. Shoot, I just lost where am I going? Okay, you're on to something. It is seemingly more of a toy photography. The accessories would be neat for pics. Yeah. Like I said, I know people are going to do some really great, fantastic jobs with the photography, but it's just because I'm not a person who does photography, I don't have any use for it. Eric Element says, not exactly needing a toy sausages for collection centerpieces. Yeah, that's true. Sabotage says, Flint and Lady Jaye kill it for me, and I love those characters. I mean, they're good sculpted figures. It's just, you already have the regular classified one, then you have the retro Flint, and now you have another Flint wearing a brown jacket. I mean, again, I don't know about you guys, I also don't like double dipping in my GI Joes, therefore I don't know, like obviously like you have the option to sell it, but I don't know, like I just don't like having like 3 of the same version of the characters. Like if I actually had if I had both versions of Flint, I would easily sell the original classified one, keep the retro one, or vice versa, and then also sell this Arctic one. But unless you're someone that who's a completist and wants like every single figure, then you know this is like a happy field day for you. But there's a lot of people that don't really necessarily want like multiple variants of different characters or the same characters. Jay Smith says, I can see the tier figures not being released, but give us pilots and drivers, even it's on the retro card. I don't know about pilots and drivers, but I think what would have been pretty cool is, I mean, this would probably be an unpopular opinion, but if they actually created like a brand new character for the SNOWCAT, like an actual, like a brand new version, like how they had the Spider Wolf character, but this one is more like a snow dude, that would have been pretty sick. Imagine like he's actually like I don't know how to explain it, but like just a brand new character to go alongside Frostbite, and everyone would be like, holy shit, like I don't even like, you know, the Wolf Spider figure was never made before, and it's probably one of my favorites in the NIGHTFORCE line. So if the Joe team actually recreated a new figure for the SNOWCAT, I think that probably would have been a really great incentive. Odds Mod says, if I was backing this, I would have had to make separate snow themed display for it. It would be out of place along with the other vehicles we've gotten so far. Yeah, unless you just have like a shelf that's all white, that would probably be better. Because I don't know what color people have their shelves. I know some people do like wooden and whatever, black, or those steel ones, but or like, you know, those bookcases, but a white shelf would be really good. Jose says, I get Barbie Dreamhouse vibes with this. It's just not a vehicle for a shelf. It's to be played with. I don't play with dolls, so it's weird as a collector. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the definition of playing with figures is as an adult, because whenever I get new figures, yeah, I like to hold it and I move it around and you know, pose it and stuff like that. But when I think of people, when people say like play with figures, I think of like them literally sitting down like crisscross applesauce, and they're just like driving around their living room, like running over their spouse's feet. Elvin says, if they fail, hopefully they will do better. But the thing is, if it does fail, like what can they do to make it better? Because then for this year we're going to be out a Haslab, and we have to wait all the way till next year for another Haslab, which would really destroy this year's excitement. Even though this year I feel like I've already lost a lot of interest in classified for the figures that they've been releasing, but the Haslab really didn't add any more to it. Couchboy says, I'll show Hasbro dropping patches in 6,777 people out of 8,000. Here's a hint. Patches. Welcome Tagworm says, Shark, what up Jokas? I had a cray dream. What I miss? Nothing much. We're still talking about the number projections so far for or potential reasons why a lot of people aren't really into it. So you know, so we can already know that it's going to fund. It's just taking a very long time to do it. Lidub says, hot take, I think they can add other heads to the Haslab so we don't have to just Flint and Lady Jaye. That would be sweeten the deal for most. You know, that's actually a very interesting idea, because in order for them to do like an incentive of, let's say if they're losing momentum and they're like, damn, like no one's really getting into this, they could do like a separate heads pack. I don't know how great that would be, but But then again, that kind of screws over a little bit of people, because if you're only backing one SNOWCAT, and if you have already a Flint and Lady Jaye, and let's say they add like all additional heads as like a little party favor, like a Duke and Scarlet, then it's kind of like you would have to back another Haslab if you're one of those collectors that wants like one version of each, you know. Derek Holloman says, get rid of the Haslabs, and it's like the Dragon Man was done in for Legends. I don't remember what the what happened with the Dragon Man part. Derek, oh sorry, I just read that. Rob Colcourt, welcome to the chat. I believe it's your first time here. Says, keep doing Haslabs, need a hydrofoil whale for the next two. Well, think about it this way, man. The whale is like 10 times bigger than this. I don't know how they're gonna do the whale. The whale just seems very unrealistic at the moment, at least to me. Again, the whale is just, it's massive, man. It's this SNOWCAT is bigger than the His tank, so, and the whale is bigger than both, I think. Yeah, so it's gonna be tough. Josh F, welcome to the chat, says this will fund and skyrocket during Comic-Con International because people will see it in person. That's very true. Or perhaps they can add something in the display. We'll see what happens July 24th. Josh, are you still going to Comic-Con? If so, I know Josh usually has like a table there with his artwork. So if you want to check out Josh's artwork there at Comic-Con, go ahead and do so. Tell Josh I said hi if you see him in person. William Hussett said, I don't play with dolls. I make these guys look cool. Damn, that's what's up. I usually just do vanilla poses, man. I have no imagination for figures anymore. Michael says, I think people need to take into account too that there's less people buying these to flip. Every con has his Dragonfly and now Rattler, and they aren't getting that 4-figure price like Unicron and Jabba ship. How many figures actually came with the Jabba ship? Unicron I know is a one set figure, but Unicron is like a freaking massive ass dude. So, and I can understand the price for Unicron, but yeah, because imagine you're paying $325 for the SNOWCAT, but then you're also spending like $400 to $500 on just the SNOWCAT alone, but it does not include the figures, or it's not including the vehicle, but you're getting the figures, but you're paying roughly the same price, like $100 and I don't know, $20, or like I don't think there would be anything less than $90. So like let's say $90 to $120 for like per figure in this Haslab on eBay at least. Realistically, it's probably costing the Joe team about like $15 to $20 to make, but after price market, because I know the Baroness for the Rattler, she's going for like over $140 right now, or like $130 or $20. So that's gonna be crazy. Eric says the original retro line is appealing. I had them as a kid, so I'm tempted to buy those. Look like rock and roll. The Snake Eyes is amazing, bland. Yeah, I mean, for those that are getting into the retro line, that's it's doing pretty well for them. Couch Boy says, anyone in the coast a snow character? Ionic Blood says, when I think G.I. Joe iconic vehicles, it's never the SNOWCAT. Well, when I think of G.I. Joe vehicles, surprisingly, I do think of the SNOWCAT, but it's like in my top 10 of vehicles that I remember. It's not necessarily like anywhere in the top five, but I think it's very iconic. It's just not in the top 5 iconic, but it's still there, at least for me. Because when I think of, well, that's vehicles, but I kind of think more play sets rather than vehicles. I don't know, I was more of a play set kind of guy than vehicle collector, but Tagworm says Fridays are good, so what's up with you? Just enjoying the heat. It's like, thankfully it was only like 80 something degrees today, but still hot. Josh F says, I think the problem is that there is only one snow figure. This Haslab should have given us the deluxe versions of characters not yet released in alternate snow camouflage. Well, I can probably settle for either Flint or Lady Jaye. I think one of them would have been great, but having both in the tiers, I think that's what ruined it. I think both shouldn't have been added. actually, you know what they should have done is base offering should have been the SNOWCAT with Frostbite, just like how the Haslab, his tank had the, what do you call it, the tactician figure, which was the early bird special. So if they had an early bird special for the SNOWCAT, then I would have added like at least either Flint or Lady Jaye in there. I think that would have been a better idea. Then you would have had both unlocked by now. And then Lady Jaye should have been, Lady Jaye or Flint, one of the other, should have been one of the tiers, which is fine. And then even if the Bivouac was still a tier, I'll take it. That's fine, no big deal. But the last tier should have been either a brand new snow character that they'd never made before, or it should have been or some other type of character that probably would have been beneficial, like Wind Chill or something. So yeah, I think they should have done it like that. That probably would have made the incentives so much more. So I think they really dropped the ball on this in terms of how they could have offered more. Rob says, I'm not buying a tank unless it's the Wolverine. Good, because at least we have CoverGirl. Russell Terrell says, if Hasbro did the Mobat or Mauler, it would have to hold 4 crew members, not just one person in a turret on top. The Abraham tank had 4 crew members. Josh F says, I think problem is that there's, oh no, I just read that. Sorry. Okay, Tagworm says SLOWCAT. Yes, I'm calling it the SLOWCAT. Give me Polar Bear, says Couchboy. Hal Jordan, welcome to the chat. Nice photo, man. They should have given us a hydrofoil. Perhaps maybe next year, because I know there's the tank version. No, what? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a snow cobra? I mean, other than the Ice Viper one, the figure, the Ice Viper that came with the wolf. Is there any other snow cobra vehicle that I don't remember at the top of my head? Couchboy says it would be nice if Hasbro kept a subline in 2025 going. Cobra Law, Mass Device, the new sublines die after Enforcer and once a man. I mean, the Arctic team is definitely a really good sub team, but that's what kind of will screw it over, because if they reveal or release a sub team for the Arctic characters, then those who didn't back the Haslab are going to feel pissed, because then they don't have a Frostbite figure unless they buy it off eBay. But still, let's just say that by the end of the year or next year they say like, oh, we're doing a new subline called like the Arctic missions. Inside that we got like Frostbite, Iceberg, Wind Chill, Cold Front, whatever, you know. Then it's like, for those who didn't back the Haslab, they'll be like, shit, where am I going to get a Frostbite now, you know? So I think that kind of ruins it. Hal Jordan says, why? Be no different than any other vehicle. That being said, I don't care about the lights and sounds. I mean, the lights and sounds are very nice. It's just, I don't really use it either. Like, I have it on my Dragonfly in his tank, but like, let's be honest, there's a lot of times I even forget it has that gimmick because it's just sitting there collecting dust. So sometimes I press the button, I'm like, ooh, Cobra logo on his tank, or I see like the green LED lights on the Dragonfly, but after that I turn it back off because I'm just like, batteries. Alright, let's see here. So I'm just catching up with the chat. I'm pretty behind at the moment. They would need to release the Skyhawks as Vil the Great. Sabotage says, I wonder if Hasbro is worried right now. Well, I don't think they're worried because they know that the G.I. Joe Classified line is one of the best lines that Hasbro has. It's just, I don't know if they're going to be worried. I think they might be disappointed that it's slow. I mean, they know it's going to fund, but I think they might throw us a doggy bone Maybe. I don't think they will, because they didn't do it for the Rattler, but if they do, that'd be nice. If not, then that would suck. Spot Jones, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here. He says, tell Josh to grab me a Colt Slither pack. Josh, if you're watching, help him out. A generic Snow Trooper would have been better than Flint's Derek Holloman. Lidub says, we should have gotten 2 new snow figures and 1 alternate snow guy. I agree, that sounds nice. Ionic Blood says, if it was a blind roadblock with once a man Cobra Commander on his back, it would have hit all the goals. Well, I don't know if I would put blind roadblock and once a man Cobra Commander in a Haslab. Well, okay, that makes perfect sense. However, no, well, because we don't have that version 2 roadblock just yet. We have the heavy artillery roadblock, and then we have the first classified version of roadblock, whatever that was, but we don't have the original roadblock. Well, one of the originals where he has the white undershirt. Therefore, to give us a blind version probably would not be as much, but if they did like a 2-pack with roadblock and Cobra Commander once a man, I think that would have been freaking awesome. So that's a very valid one, because then that would have just been like, okay, we'll get like another version of roadblock soon. Or if they wanted to make money, they could have just added an additional head sculpt of a roadblock that's not blinded, but give us that version of roadblock with the white shirt and the green vest, with that Cobra Commander. That probably would have been sick. Joshua says, no matter how you feel about this Haslab, it failing would be bad for the line. I don't think well, bad for the line, yeah, but I think it would probably tell the G.I. Joe team to kind of wake up, because at this point I think they're kind of taking us for granted, assuming that we'll just back and buy everything. But I think it's better that they kind of, sometimes you gotta show them up, Light Up says, I think of the SNOWCAT for vehicles. Chris Yule says, the G.I. Joe Transformers crossovers are planned for at least a movie. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have no interest in the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. That's just not my thing. Especially if we get like new classified figures with like freaking Snake Eyes and Optimus Prime. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that. I could care less about it. Roland Max says, what's up, Shark and fam? What's going on, Roland? Thank you so much for joining. Couchboy says, Chris Google Kirkman G.I. Joe cartoon is rumored to be being made now. Where am I? Sabotage says, I don't know much about production process, but why wouldn't they do another run of Vamps, Serpentor, Nemesis, Claw, anything we can't get anymore? All the tooling is there, easy money, right? I personally don't know the answer myself, but I can kind of figure out Serpentor, because remember when Serpentor sold out when Emily went on the live stream and she said, or not a live stream, I think she even made a post about it, I remember. She said if they were to ever re-release Serpentor, they would probably have to do a different color scheme, or it would have to be without the Air Chariot, because she said that the Air Chariot is supposed to be exclusive for Comic-Con, and the only way to get the Air Chariot was to attend Comic-Con. So it's like you're literally telling people like the only way to get it is to join or come to Comic-Con to get it. We know if you go on yojo.com, they have like 4 or 5 different versions of Serpentor, and that what I'm saying. So if you go on yojo.com, there's like different versions of Serpentor, right? We have like a lighter yellow one. We have one from the Deke series. We have the one where he has like black hair showing from underneath the serpent head mask. We could have one where he have like a yelling face. We have one from the 2000s era that was in the 2-pack where it's like more black and green. So we could see Serpentor come back, but I don't think they'll give us the original colors unless they do like a cartoon version, retro one. I don't know. And then for Nemesis, Immortal, I honestly, and like Vamps, and I don't know. I think they're just trying to be like, they're trying to build FOMO and hype for it. Tagworm says they should have just given me my damn Mobat or Mauler. I'm only getting a SLOWCAT because I just really want one to have. Yeah, I mean, again, the only way to get vehicles right now is really just Haslabs. Ooh, Bat and Joe fan, welcome to the chat, says if they had been able to get everybody their Rattlers already, people would be more amenable to photo down money for a new Haslab. True. But I think it's also because there's also a great amount of classified collectors who are also very burnt out of just pre-ordering and not having any figures in hand. You know, some of them don't even have dial tone, some of them don't even have a Xandar yet, and then some of them don't even have, like, I don't know, the snake armor, therefore, and you know, some of them are still waiting for their Rattler. And then on top of that, people are saving up money to go to Comic-Con to get the Cold Slither 4-pack. But then they're also, you know, then they have to spend over $300 on a SLOWCAT. So I think really it's just everyone's like budgeting money the best they can. And plus people want to they want to pre-order figures and they want to get it within like a month or two. No one wants to wait like more than like 8 months for a figure. A lot of people don't even have the Trench Viper or heavy duty figure yet, which is insane because those were up for pre-order like last year. Joshua says I might cancel it if it doesn't hit the deadline. Good stuff. Couchboy says they need modern real humans. Sarge Fridge made it real. Travis Kelce is The Rock. Oh, I don't know I think they should stay away from The Rock as far as possible for G.I. Joe. Blind Head with Haslab makes sense, as Eric Elliman. Also, shout out to Eric Elliman, very great supporter on the channel. FNL Forever, welcome to the chat, says Retro Serpentor better head back and varied color shades. Even for Serpentor, right? I do have it sitting right there, but for Serpentor, I kind of wish that they gave him like a screaming face. That probably would have been a great addition. So I feel like if they ever do like a retro Serpentor, they might add like an additional head sculpt to it. Because the one that we have, the exclusive one with the air chariot, it's just like a standard face that's just like looking at you. I think a screaming face would have been ideal because that's the only way he can say like or scream Cobra la la la. Okay, let's see. Miles McDaniel, welcome to the chat, says it's a log of pre-orders that is going to ship around the same time Haslab is done. Lots of money going out at one time. Yep. Lidub says, I said I wouldn't back the SNOWCAT until I got my Rattler. I wonder if my Rattler is late because I got mine late. No, to be honest, they don't look at it that way. Like, you could be the first person to back your Haslab and you can be the last one to get it. So you could even be the last person to back it on like the last hour or the last like 10 minutes and you can still be the first one to get it. So it's really just kind of luck and just like up in the air. It doesn't matter who backs it first because it doesn't really go that way. It's just like the shipping is really just all random. Like a good example would be like sometimes when I do pre-orders for like NECA figures, right? I don't remember where their headquarters is, but it's like not too far. I think it's New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or I don't remember. And I'm here in the East Coast, so I'm like literally like an hour or two away from the headquarters, and instead people from California get theirs first more than people in New York or like Rhode Island. So, you know, it is what it is. Couchboy says, okay, he's talking about something else. I don't know what's happening there. Paul, welcome to the chat, says it's like a Turtles crossed over with everything lame and saturated, just trying to squeeze more money out of the collectors. Kids don't even know these IPs. Well, I had a conversation with Mr. Sampson, and I know this is going to be a very hard topic for a lot of people to swallow, but this is literally as, you know, this is as realistic as it's going to get, because I don't think any other YouTuber is probably going to be upfront about this. Maybe they are, I don't even know, but we are the last generation of toys. Because I recently was hanging out with my brother and his nephew, and he was just, you know, my nephew was really just all about the Switch 2. He was talking about these new video games and all this, like Minecraft and Roblox and all that bullshit, and I'm just like, hey, check out this new Iron Man toy, and he was just like, yeah, whatever, like, I don't care. You know, he was just more into his tablet and just like enjoying. And at that age, like, you know, we had Toys R Us and KB Toys and all that stuff. And this would also be a very beneficial factor for people to know. Like, even then when I was hanging out with him yesterday, I went to my local GameStop, which is about like 10 minutes from my house. I was walking around the corner to head into GameStop, and next thing you know, they had the shutters on it. I was like, what the hell? And next thing you know, the sign was taken down. GameStop is gone. Obviously physical media is pretty much on its way out. So we are the last generation of buying action figures, that's for sure. Elvin Martinez says, I have so many pre-orders in progress. Good stuff. Mr. Madgus, welcome to the chat, says a Rattler Baroness in all white with an adjusted snow job hood would have been sick. Yeah, but but a Baroness is a Cobra character, so they wouldn't toss in a Cobra with a Joe vehicle. That's why a lot of people, I think not a lot, but some people wanted to have Ice Viper with the SNOWCAT, but it wasn't going to happen because Ice Viper came with the Wolf, and that's a Cobra, and they wouldn't do Ice Viper with the SNOWCAT. 49er Brian, welcome to the chat. Says, yo, Shark. Shipping notification for TMNT 1995 pack. Ooh, congrats, Eric Element. I didn't even pre-order that because I have all the standard solo GameStop releases of the TMNT figures, but I think the TMNT line, quick segue, I think the TMNT line from the movie line is on its way out, because the last two, I think, is the Rocksteady and Bebop What If scenario. So who knows when those will be out. FNF Forever says, my Serpentor, I bought a new head. I did not like the default one much. Just me. No, it makes sense. Couch Boy says, real life Joe recruits as a kid were cool. If John Cena and the football player joined G.I. Joe, it may entice youth. Hell no. I mean, if you want it, that's cool, but I would definitely never want it. I don't want to see John Cena's face anywhere near G.I. Joe. I agree, Paul. Pat and Joe fan says, do you remember the vintage Joes that had battle commands with the enormous backpacks? Let's get Serpentor that says, this I command. That would be funny. Vil the Great says, never saw a kid purchasing classified. Yeah, I think it's... I see parents buy the classified and then they have their kids hold the figure. I could be wrong, but... Maybe they'll enjoy it for the time being, but... Within like the half a year, they're gonna be like, Dad, buy me a Switch 2. Mr. Madgus says, I decided not to back it. I want to spend my money on a hiss that I missed out on. The Hasbro Pulse website has been showing random in stock of hiss tanks. I don't know why, but that's just weird. Joshua says it's really on the Gen X millennials who even have this interest. Baby boomers rarely hang on to their howdy doodies or Gumbies. Oh, Gumby. Todd C says, I got my Rattler in and patched up. I'm hyped for the SNOWCAT now. Nice. Todd C is excited. There we go. Elvin Martinez Jr. says, it's happened before when Hasbro switched up the site. I don't care says, welcome to the chat. Nice name, by the way. Says, I'm waiting and hoping for a shark tooth with a Deep Six. That would be really nice. I can't wait to see a shark figure in Deep Six. Tagworm says, KB Toys, ain't that telling your age? Yes. Hey, hey man, I don't mind. I mean, you name it. Funko Land, KB Toys, Sears, Toys R Us, Kmart, Caldor. You name it, man. Holland says, are we doing a Dream G.I. Joe movie casting? No, definitely not. I don't even know who to put in there. Couchboy says, I'm looking for a free hiss tank for my son. Guy is keeping my youth into Joe's. Whatever happened to him? Wait, what? What? I have no clue what you're talking about, Couchboy. I love KB Toys too, Derek. Man, that was my favorite store. Joshua says, I rarely see kids in action figures aisles anyway. You know, I actually, sometimes if I'm at Walmart, I do see them, but I see them at, the Sonic area, or I see them by the wrestling, sometimes the Ninja Turtles, or I see them by like the Jurassic Park figures. I don't really see them by like the Marvel area. FNL Forever says they need points mail in to get stuff like the SNOWCAT tent set. That would be interesting. Bat and Joe fan says, Target canceled my Driver 2-pack and breaker orders. Are others getting the same? I've seen someone post about it prior that someone got their breaker canceled too. I'm not sure how many others, but definitely a good time to check your emails too. Elvin says, my nephews don't care about action figures. None of them have any interest in playing with toys. They are glued to their Switch or iPads. Amen, brother. Amen. All right. So, anywho, so that is the, what do you call it? I guess, I think we'll probably hit the funding. Let's see. It's Friday, right? So Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think I'm gonna estimate at least maybe by Wednesday. No, not Wednesday. Might be too. We'll put a stretch. Let's say by Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we should hopefully have this unlocked. And then that would give us about 20. I don't know, 7 days, 28 days. I don't know. 28 days. So then, yeah. Who knows? But yeah, so let's see here. And then other than that, since we are right now, it's July 11th, we still have till August 14th of this year, which it really is not too far away. So like most of you said in the chat, I think a lot of people will be enticed to back the Haslab once they see photos at San Diego Comic-Con. So I don't know, every time I look at like this visualizer as a whole, I don't know, the vehicle is massive. I'm just not sure about like, I mean the patches from the Rattler really knocked people silly, but yeah, I think this will probably be, in terms of ranking, I think this is definitely better than the Rattler in terms of offerings. But I still feel like it's also a very weak Haslab too. So, I don't know. I don't care says, I see the bivouac getting redecoed for different environments. Yeah, I mean, you can probably use it for Dusty. Why not? For desert characters maybe. But then again, well, yeah, I guess you can use it for the desert. Yeah. Joshua has the announcement, says several classified figures like the HMS are 20% off on Pulse right now. Nice. For those that want to buy classified figures, they are 20% off on Hasbro Pulse right now. Bat and Joe fan says, I loved Toys R Us and KB Toys, the golden age of brick and mortar toy stores. There was a joy finding the figures on the peg that you don't get online pre-orders. Dude, I don't even know where to begin with that. There was, I don't know if all layouts for Toys R Us were the same, but for mine, I remember I think one of the last not the last, but like one of the peak golden memories of my Toys R Us was walking in, and then like PlayStation 1 and N64 was kind of like thriving, and then I would see like the demos on the TV screens with like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, and then there would actually be a GI Joe aisle. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was like a military aisle in Toys R Us and KB Toys, like in the not far back, but like near the end of the aisle, and they would have like Leonard Corpse figures, they would have GI Joe figures. That's where my father actually bought me the 2001 GI Joe headquarters for my birthday at that time. That was pretty sick. Yeah, and just like the color scheme of KB Toys, the whole the blue carpet and the yellow, man, good stuff. I miss those days, man. It's just as bad as me missing like Blockbuster. The patches pissed us the F off. Fast forward 10 years, the patches are worth $400 a piece. The patches are the rarest of any classified collector. I don't care what people say. If you own your patches, I say you preserve it, you put it in a glass showcase, you hang it up on your wall proud. They'll probably be worth like thousands of dollars in the future. Mr. Madga says, I grabbed a fire team and HMS to go with the hiss and their must-haves. Nice, congratulations. Okay, let's see what else we have here. So we have till August 14th. Okay, so we have August 14th. Let's take a look at what we have next. What's coming out next? So it's July 11th as of this live stream. Cold Slither 4-pack is, for those that didn't see my Shark shorts that I recently just did, the Cold Slither 4-pack will be going up for pre-order on July 24th. They're going up till July 27th for San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to emphasize that please do not stress out if you do not get this Cold Slither 4-pack. Over the years of making classified videos, they always have limited stock and some stock weeks to follow or even months after to follow. It'll be at like most random times, but do not stress out. Do not go crazy over it. I'm sure that they'll do their best to post whatever ways they can for you guys to get it, because I think Pulse members will be able to pre-order first and then general public after. So yeah, July 24th for those, and then we have the Walmart CollectorCon, which is July 24th and July 25th, so same time around Comic-Con. So that's going to be the NIGHTFORCE, QUICKKICK, and BEACHHEAD 2-pack. So that's nothing new, because I know last year Walmart's CollectorCon was around the same time as those as well. So think of it this way: imagine you're spending mad money to go to Comic-Con to get the Cold Slither 4-pack, and then at the same time you're also trying to get the NIGHTFORCE BEACHHEAD QUICKKICK 2-pack as well, but that's like a Walmart CollectorCon. So you're having two cons going on at the same exact time, which is bullshit, but it is what it is. And then the Legacy Series Police Officer, God knows what's going to happen with that one. We've already talked about that one to death. I don't even know when that's going to come out. So that's going to be, because within the next 2 weeks, this is basically all we have left at the moment when it comes to digital renders. Think about how far we've come in classified to a point where these 4 Cold Slither figures are going to be gone from this list. The NIGHTFORCE, BEACHHEAD, and QUICKKICK are going to be gone from this list. And then all we're going to have now is really just the Legacy Series Firefighter. I do know that the Hasbro G.I. Joe team has a San Diego Comic-Con panel, I think on the 25th, which is a Saturday. So I think it's like 11 a.m. 11 a.m. their time? I don't remember. So there will probably get more digital renders then, but for now, yeah. So other than the Legacy Series Police Officer, we're about to nail for 6 figures off this list, and then we're only gonna have 1 figure left, and then after that we have no renders to go off of for the next foreseeable time, unless, you know, again, Comic-Con, they decide to give us more new figures. I don't care says, I remember KB Toys being in the mall in the 90s. Oh man, that was one of the best ways, man. When I saw KB Toys in the mall, lovely. Couch Boy says, ice, ice, baby. Roland Max says, KB was a go for me. I couldn't walk past that store without begging my mom to go in. Dude, KB Toys had like literally, like, I know a lot of people are more Toys R Us bound, but for me, KB Toys was like the shit. I mean, KB Toys, we had like, even in the peak of, because Toys R Us to me felt more of an 80s nostalgia for a lot of people, but KB Toys was more of a 90s store for me. So all the cartoons and animated series that we had on Fox Kids and WB and Toonami and all that stuff, those figures were all thriving on the pegs, and there's not one KB Toys that I went to where I couldn't find what I needed. That was the beauty of having toy stores back then, was there was never one store where I went in saying, oh, today I'm going to look for a Batman the Animated Series and not find it. Even if I went to a KB Toys that was like an hour away from my house, visiting a friend from another town, they would still have good stock of figures, and you just left the store like happy. I never once had an experience leaving KB Toys being disappointed. Toys R Us probably because it was a lot bigger, there was a lot more stuff, and it's a little more intimidating, but KB Toys was a little more, it was small, it wasn't a big store, and you kind of just had more, I guess. Couchboy says KB had less than Toys R Us. I don't know. I always thought that. I mean, it was more cluttered, that's for sure. Slither, I just won me Zartan's boots and spirit. Wait, what? Mr. Magus says, from Slither, I just would want Zartan's boots. Oh, Zartan's head and Buzzer's boots for. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we should probably eliminate 6 of these figures until we get something new. And aside from the fireworks that are going off right now, when it comes to the name onlys and leaks and prototypes and next waves, the only thing we have of at the moment is we have Desert Scorpion, we have Steel Core Sentry with Defense Post, which are the only 2 name reveals, and then we have the mysterious listings of Taurus and Reddog, but then we have no clue where the hell Wetsuit, Flash, Night Viper, and Sci-Fi are. All good, Russell. See you then. So I hope for this year's Comic-Con we get digital renders for Night Viper and Sci-Fi. Hopefully we get like name reveals for like Deep Six or Mainframe. If you think about it, within these 5 years of Classified, we kind of knocked out a lot of the main hard hitters within the Classified line. So I feel like now we're going to be heading into a lot more deep cuts in the Deke series and other figures like that. So Hollandette says, what is the Defense Post? So damn, I should have, every time I look at the Defense Post, I should have just added the photo. Shoot. So I can remember the Defense Post off the top of my head in terms of the photo. Somebody help me out here, because like, damn, I don't know how to describe the Defense Post. They will probably do all those renders at Comic-Con, says Todd C. Very true. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fins crossed. Elvin Martinez says still no mainframe. Yeah, man. Zarana is getting lonely. Hollandette says, what date is the week of Comic-Con? That would be July 24th through July 27th. So we still have like 2 more weeks for Comic-Con, I think. Yeah, 2 more weeks probably. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, other than that, that's it. I mean, we have nothing else to go for. They really knocked out a lot of the renders and name reveals out of the pre-order list. So I think this is the first time in classified history where it's kind of like a dud, you know, like the reveals to render ratio and pre-order ratio has been not as time consuming, I suppose. Like they would announce a figure for a name only or a render, and then it just goes up for pre-order automatically like the next week or the next month. So yeah, it's crazy. At least it's kind of like it's keeping it very slow, which is fine because it gives us a little break, but we'll see what happens. Lidub says the defense post is 2 upside down white solo cups with 2 gray sticks connecting them to an orange fence. FNL Forever says LOL. But yeah. So otherwise, that's pretty much it, guys. Like there's really not much else to say here other than it's been a pretty slow week and a half at most for classified. Not sure what else is going to happen, but gotta figure out what's, you know, I tried my best with tonight's stream to figure out a good topic, but hopefully this was good enough for you guys. I tried. And it is a Friday, so I do apologize if you guys have things to do. But thank you for the 60 something people that were here watching, and for the 42 likes. I definitely appreciate you guys for joining in even on a Friday. That means a lot. Tatsi says they're obligated to have a premiere reveals at Comic-Con, so panel should be good. Yes, that's gonna be fun. I can't wait. So other than that, I think we'll wrap it up here because I'll let you guys enjoy your Friday. So I don't know what the topic will be for next week, but hopefully it should be hopefully something should come up. Of course, stay tuned for more SharkNewZ videos, and we'll see what else happens. Otherwise, I also have a brand new channel called SharkNewZ Extra. If you want to subscribe to it, I have the link right there in the top. For those who want to have other figures to talk about, I'm going to be talking about other figures other than G.I. Joe on that channel. I want to keep this SharkNewZ specifically for G.I. Joe Classified, and then the other channel will be for a bunch of other various brands and stuff. So if you want to subscribe to it, you can. If not, no biggie. It's totally fine. I had no issue. So yeah, so the channel link will be right there on the top. If you want to subscribe to it, that'd be really great. And yeah, that'd be fun. Otherwise, thank you guys all for joining. It was a very nice time to spend with you guys here on a Friday night. Thank you, BD Bonzi. Good to see you in the chat. And I will see you guys all next week for whatever the topic we'll have. And till then, have a great weekend. Enjoy collecting. Hug your loved ones. Have some great food. And stay cold because it's freaking hot outside. I don't know where you guys are, but stay safe. Tatsi says I look like Brad Pitt from Fight Club. That's freaking awesome. So yes, the Great White says I'll see you guys all later. Take care and have a great weekend. And yeah, yo Joe. Or no, forget that. Shark Attack, baby.